Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
It was just a few days ago that we saw triple digits in parts of the area. Now we're tracking temperatures in the 50s Wednesday morning. I'm tracking the cold front that's causing this big change and when it arrives coming up.
We're also still seeing the effects from last night's storms in our area as streets are closed because of high water and hundreds have lost power because of fallen trees today.
Plus, if you're kissing summer goodbye with those Labor Day trips, we've got you covered. What you need to know before you head out on the road or in the skies this afternoon.
A lot of folks looking for relief today after last night's storms gave us video like this. Some of that really terrible flooding on Glenwood Avenue. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey in for Nate Chu. Thanks for joining us. Meteorologist Chris Michaels joins us now. And Chris, it looks like we'll be getting that pretty soon.
Yeah, that relief is pretty much knocking on the doorstep right now, as you see in the orange and the water vapor satellite imagery. That's some of the drier air that is coming in from Virginia, from Tennessee, and it literally is moving into some of our western counties as we speak. So it's kind of eating away at some of the rain. You do see that in the northern part of Johnston County as you head into southern parts of Franklin County as well. This continues to move from west to east. Aside from that, Dual Doppler 5000 is not catching on to as much rain as we maybe saw earlier in the morning. And for that, we're thankful, because especially after yesterday, Youngsville, Cary, we registered more than 4 inches of rain. Hillsborough, more than 3 inches. Areas like Roxborough to Clayton, Siler City, about 1 1/3 inches to 2.5 inches of rain. So for some of us, it was like a month's worth of rain within a few hours. And that's why we saw all that flooding last night. Chapel Hill starting to see some breaks of sunshine. Looks like folks are getting out and starting to enjoy a little bit of their Labor Day. I do think we see the chance for maybe some isolated downpours. Most of those would be near into the south of the triangle this afternoon. But the grilling planner looks good to go. And here's the thing. We're not going to have to deal with that brutal heat today. High temperatures, they'll be in the low to mid 80s. And by this evening, 8 o'clock, we're in the low to mid 70s. And temperatures continue to go down from there as we track a little bit of a dip in the humidity levels. Feeling comfortable overnight. Durham and Raleigh 62, Roxborough 59, Fayetteville at about 66 degrees. Comfortable humidity tomorrow, but that's not going to last too much longer after that. Coming up, I'll take you beyond the 7-day to see if there's any signs of a longer cool down coming up.
Some of those hazards from last night's storm created issues for people today. People who live in the area of Lead Mine Road and Millbrook Road in Raleigh. They saw this. The WRAL breaking news tracker found a tree blocking the road about 8 o'clock this morning. Crews from Duke Energy worked to remove that tree. And at one point, they said 900 customers were without power in that area. Also, take a look at this flooding at the railroad underpass of Ramsey Street near Wall Street in Fayetteville. The southbound lane is shut down, but the northbound lane was not affected. The street is not expected to reopen until 5 p.m. Fortunately, traffic around that area is light due to the holiday.
Good afternoon, Chris Levingood here in the WRAL Live Center. We're keeping our eye on in terms of cancellations and delays across America right now. This is the FlightAware map kind of showing you the situation. Now, this morning when I was here, we were just seeing double-digit delays. We're in the triple digits now, but I specifically want to talk about RDU. Let's go ahead and pull that up here. Now, this morning, I think we saw maybe 12 delays, but we've seen double that since we last looked in the last couple of hours. 24 total delays and 2 cancellations at RDU. We'll be watching very carefully as obviously a lot of people are traveling back from the Labor Day holiday weekend. But right now, not looking too bad, but it is an increase from before.
All right, thanks, Chris. And travelers are wrapping up their final days of the summer today. This Labor Day is the end of a record-breaking travel period. As WRAL's Laura Levine shares, experts say we can expect to see low gas prices through the fall.
Labor Day travel will wrap up today with all of those people hitting the road and making stops at gas stations like this. Good news for those drivers. Gas prices are anywhere from 35 to 40 cents cheaper than they were this time last year. Millions of people were on the road this weekend, getting in one last trip this summer during the long holiday break. And it's been a record-breaking summer travel season in the skies and on the highways. AAA's morning report shows North Carolina's average price for regular gas dropped again at $3.11. That's 20 cents cheaper than the national average.
As demand goes up, prices tend to follow. I don't think we're going to see a huge spike or anything. That's barring any kind of natural disaster, a hurricane. That would be the only thing that would cause it to have a huge spike. But we're looking pretty good for us to be paying the cheapest we have for this holiday in the last 2 to 3 years.
And if you are among those hitting the roads today to head home, AAA says the earlier you leave, the better, because the busiest time on the roads will be between 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Cary.
A man is facing murder charges after police say he shot and killed his girlfriend in Wilson County. This is Haley Barber. Police say they found her dead at their home on Camellia Court Saturday night. Officers say Arnold Farrell was still there when they arrived. We spoke with the person who called 911. He didn't want to be identified, but he tells WRAL he was coming home from work when he saw that scene.
Why would he do it? I know it can't be Leo. Why would he do such a thing? But it never crossed my mind that he would do such a thing. A lot went through my mind, was it that bad, Leo, for you to do that to her? I mean, she was a nice girl.
Neighbors say Farrell shot Barber from inside the home through the door. Farrell is being held without bond. A GoFundMe account in memory of Haley Barber has been made and it has more than $7,000 in it in less than a day. According to the page, Haley's brother Brandon is organizing a fundraiser. It says the money raised will go towards supporting Barber's family. The page says she was a loving person who would give you the shirt off her back and help you any way she could.
Jeff, seeing some pretty clear-cut words from President Biden in regard to Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Biden said today when speaking with reporters that Netanyahu is not doing enough to secure a hostage deal between Israel and Hamas. This happened after bodies of 6 hostages were found in a Gaza tunnel, and that has led to massive protests in Israel. Biden also says that a final offer should be on the table soon. He has accused Hamas of holding up a deal for a ceasefire and hostage exchange, although we've also heard from U.S. leaders as well as foreign leaders that Netanyahu has held up on his end of things as well. And then coming up at 12:30, we're going to take you more information in regards to this, including those massive protests that have been sparked in Israel.
All right, thanks, Chris. An event is happening today for the UNC fraternity students who held the American flag during protests this spring. A GoFundMe to hold flag stock for the students raised more than $500,000. It's described as an epic rager. Country singer John Rich helped organize the event, and he will be one of several performers alongside Lee Greenwood and Five for Fighting. Organizers are not publicizing the location of the event.
We are going to keep the location on the down low because the last thing we want is for some kind of massive protest.
And they just say that it will be happening near Chapel Hill. 2,000 to 3,000 UNC students are expected to attend this private event.
Covering Wake County, students at St. Augustine's University are finalizing their back-to-school checklists before they return to class tomorrow. The first day of fall semester is pushed back by 2 weeks from August 19th to September 3rd, tomorrow. Now, interim president Marcus Burgess told the WRAL that the school expects to have about 200 students for the school year, which is a fraction of what the enrollment was 2 years ago. They had 1,000 students. The big drop comes as St. Aug faces a series of financial challenges as well as issues with its accreditation.
This week, North Carolina will be the first state in the country to send out absentee ballots for the 2024 election. The first ballots will be mailed out on Friday. The voter registration deadline for the election is October 11th. In-person early voting starts October 17th and continues through November 2nd. And the deadline to request an absentee ballot is October 29th. Election Day is November 5th.
Police in Moore County are working to make an arrest after a man was shot. Police say the suspect ran away from officers on Juniper Lake Road near Taylortown early Sunday morning. A perimeter was set up using K-9 units shortly before 3 a.m. It's unclear if anyone has been taken into custody at this time. Police say the victim was taken to a hospital in Pinehurst with non-life-threatening injuries. A state trooper is in the hospital after he was hurt during a physical altercation during a traffic stop. It happened along I-73 near Candor yesterday afternoon. Investigators say both the trooper and the driver he pulled over were hurt. Both of them were taken to the hospital but are expected to be okay. Investigators have not released the reason for the traffic stop.
An Apex firefighter was hurt while responding to a fire at an Apex apartment complex last night. This happened on Minster Drive. There were several firefighters at the scene when the WRAL breaking news tracker arrived. Ladders were set up to help them reach the upper level. The firefighter was treated on scene. Town officials say this is a good reminder to check your smoke alarms regularly.
An Amtrak train hit a car in Durham. It happened on Fayetteville Street and East Pettigrew Street around 11 p.m. Officials tell us no one was in that car when the train struck it on the railroad tracks, so no one was hurt.
And if you're planning to visit a popular beach along the Neuse River for Labor Day, you'll see new warning signs. There have been 4 drownings since May at Raleigh Beach and a number of water rescues. The city recently put up signs in English and Spanish warning people of steep drops and fast currents. There is also a new gate at the beach's front entrance, preventing vehicles from driving down to the water. People tell us that it's made a noticeable difference in crowding.
Next at noon, thousands of hotel workers are not working on this Labor Day. The reason for their strike and how long it could last.
Also, a human smuggling bust in Texas. The condition of 17 migrants found in the back of a fake Lowe's truck.
Plus, there's heightened interest in young voters this election cycle. The effect this group could have on the outcome.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Thousands of hotel workers are on the picket line this holiday. Workers from Hyatt, Marriott, and Hilton hotels say they are fighting for higher pay, better staffing, and reduced workloads. They say hotel chains made major cuts to services and staff during the COVID pandemic. But now that travel has rebounded and workers are saying that hotels are understaffed and they're underpaid.
We're going to do whatever it takes for us to have a better contract, better wages, better work conditions.
The strike spans across 24 hotels in 8 cities, including Honolulu, Boston, San Francisco, and Seattle. The strike is expected to last up to 3 days. And Texas authorities are investigating a human smuggling case where 17 migrants were found inside a truck that was disguised to look like a Lowe's store truck. This is the moment that troopers opened a hidden compartment in the 18-wheeler. It was all caught on body cam. 13 men and 4 women were inside that truck. Multiple people were treated for dehydration. The driver is now charged with human smuggling causing serious bodily injury.
Young voters are among the key groups under scrutiny for the effect they could have on this election. Alice Barr spoke with several young voters and tells us what they're thinking about this election season.
In the final 2 months before Election Day, a campaign transformed by a new Democratic nominee, seeing a swell of interest among young voters.
Young people aren't here to throw their hands up, walk away, and let an 80-year-old make decisions for them. I think that became clear. Well, now we've got new candidates. We've got a new hope.
We spoke to Parker Short at the Democratic National Convention, the Young Democrats of Georgia president who went viral for his Harris rally dance moves, believes an energized youth vote will be decisive.
I'm excited to protect the climate. I'm excited to restore abortion rights in Georgia.
But protests against the war in Gaza outside showcased a key vulnerability among young voters. And Northwestern University student organizer Amani Billups says it's not the only one.
Young people don't feel like our government works for them. Most of us are like, we're probably not going to own homes, you know?
As former President Trump seeks to tap into that discontent, supporters at the Republican National Convention noted a shift among Generation Z men.
The more informed that they become, especially when it comes to their pocketbook, they become more conservative.
New York Times Siena College polls conducted in 6 swing states in August suggest young men aged 18 to 29 favor former President Trump by 13 points, while Vice President Harris had a 38-point advantage among women of the same age in those states: Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada.
I think it is hard sometimes to say I am conservative and I like President Trump because we get so much hate.
Policies over personality. It's the great opportunity party.
Amani Billups believes the former president's rhetoric turns off many young voters and that economic concerns won't change that. His worry is turnout.
The reason you should get engaged is just for your community. It is for the people you care about. It's even for communities that you aren't a part of.
Urging politicians to listen to the new generation with a growing share of voting power.
And that was Alice Barr reporting.
So on the one hand, we have a dreary downtown Raleigh view from Dick's Park camera, but, Chris Michaels is always looking on the bright side of things, so he has this view of Roxborough now.
Exactly. Yeah, really just trying to show you guys where the change is coming from. It's coming in from north to south, and it's almost that Toy Story looking sky with the fair weather cumulus clouds in Roxborough. So overall, very nice start to the afternoon as you get close to the North Carolina-Virginia border. But you can see that front separating the dry air, the comfortable air to the north from the muggy air to the south. And we're sitting on the muggy side of things, at least for now, but that's going to change, especially as we head into tonight. Got a few showers, especially north of Smithfield and Selma. Those continue to move from west to east into parts of Wilson County. Nothing crazy with that, right? No lightning, no thunder. In fact, our storm chances, they're going to remain pretty small here as we go through the rest of the afternoon. But if you're planning on lunch outside, you're probably just going to have to dry off some of the patio furniture and things like that. Temperature is currently 80 in the Triangle. It's humid, so we'll call the lunch forecast fair for this afternoon so far. But again, storm chances are going to be pretty minimal today, especially when you compare them to earlier this morning and what we saw last night. Labor Day planner, temperatures in the low to mid 80s this afternoon. This evening, we're in the low to mid 70s. And throughout that, we're still going to stay muggy. Here's 8 p.m. and the muggy meter is still in that steamy category. But as the breeze shifts and comes in out of the northeast, that's nice. Look at tomorrow morning, dew points in the 40s and 50s. That's when there's not a whole lot of moisture in the atmosphere and things feel more comfortable. Heading into tomorrow afternoon, you may see a slight uptick in the humidity, but that's certainly something that we can manage for sure. So at the bus stop here the next few mornings, tomorrow 62, Wednesday 59, Thursday 66. So the humidity starts to creep up a little bit as we get later in the week, and the muggy meter showing that really by Thursday and by Friday. What's causing that is a storm system that's going to dig into the Gulf and pull up some of that moisture. So from Thursday through Saturday, we'll start to see more rounds of showers and thunderstorms. Some of these could be on the heavy side, especially late Friday into Saturday. But on the other side of that, notice the counterclockwise flow and low pressure. You're going to start to pull in some of that cooler air late weekend into early next week. So this is that time of year now where we start to see more frequent cold fronts, and you're going to start to see temperatures swinging. However, I do want to kind of draw your attention to something here in the 7-day forecast. There's no 90s. Last time we went a week without 90-degree heat, you had to go back to late May, early June. Today, low to mid 80s. Tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, high temperatures are only in the 70s. And again, Wednesday morning kind of sticks out, at least to me. We drop into the upper 50s by then. 60s for lows the next several mornings, and you see highs about 79 to 84 heading into the weekend. Storm chances will rise at least for part of the weekend. Keep checking back for updates as we get a better idea as to the hour-by-hour timing for those storm chances. Because, guys, let's be honest, even though it's Monday, we're always looking ahead to the weekend, right? So we'll keep you posted on that.
We are, and we'll take 84 as the hottest will be all week.
Is it Friday yet?
I know. Yeah. No, it's Monday. All right, coming up today at 4, in just a few days, election workers will start sending out mail-in absentee ballots to voters who request them. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie explains how the process works.
And millions of people traveling this weekend, but if you stayed closer to home, it may pay off. Ahead at 5:30, 5 on your side's Keely Arthur shares why vacationing in the off-season might be the best time to travel. Plus, still ahead this noon. Up next, the stock market is closed today, but there's a lot of economic news expected this week. 5 on your side breaks down the business headlines for the week ahead.
And a warning for owners of one of the priciest SUVs. The concern Jaguar has about parking one of its vehicles too close to any buildings.
I want to pull you back into the WRAL Live Center for a pretty grim update overseas in Kabul in Afghanistan. At least 6 people are reportedly dead after a suicide bomber that detonated there, and at least 13 people have been injured. This happened in a neighborhood in Kabul. One person who died was a woman. No other description for the other people, but we do know that the people who were injured were reported as civilians that were taken to a hospital for treatment. At last check, no organization has claimed responsibility for that bombing.
Financial services, government agencies, and many more businesses are taking the holiday off. But 5 on your side is taking a look at the busy week ahead when business resumes tomorrow. Aaron Real has today's business headlines.
The stock market is closed today in observance of Labor Day. Banks, the U.S. Postal Service, the DMV, and most other government agencies are also closed. And there's no $1.50 hot dog lunch at Costco today. The retail giant is among the many stores also taking the day off. If you're celebrating Labor Day by not laboring, you can thank President Grover Cleveland, who officially signed this day into federal law back in 1894, celebrating America's social and economic achievements in the late 19th century. When the bell rings on Wall Street Tuesday morning, investors will be looking to rally after a turbulent 5-day run ended Friday, driven in large part by several disappointing second quarter earnings reports in the corporate and tech sectors. On the economic calendar, key numbers in manufacturing and construction are out tomorrow, with numbers on open jobs, factory orders, and auto sales rolling out Wednesday. The Fed will be awaiting inflation signals on unemployment and wages Thursday and Friday. Its next meeting is scheduled for mid-month, where the first interest rate cut in 4 years is expected to be announced. I'm Aaron Real at the NASDAQ market site in New York.
Some businesses are keeping their doors open today. Most Walmart and Target locations will be open today, with store hours varying by location. And clothing stores, including TJ Maxx, Macy's, and JCPenney, they will be open during regular hours. Gap and Old Navy hours will vary by location.
A warning for owners of one of the most expensive vehicles about it catching on fire. Jaguar issued a warning that some of its I-Pace all-electric SUVs have a problem with the battery. The company wants the owners to park outside and away from buildings because the batteries could overheat and catch fire. Drivers can contact their dealers and get a software update. Vehicle owners should still park and charge the SUVs outside for a month after the software is updated.
Just ahead, Israel's president is apologizing to Hersh Goldberg Poland's family after he was found murdered in Gaza. What people who loved him shared at a vigil in his honor.
Plus, a warning for anyone trying to squeeze in that last beach trip of the summer. Why Oak Island officials had to raise a purple flag this weekend.
And here are your winning lottery numbers. Good luck.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Protests in Israel are escalating as the country's largest labor union goes on strike.
Yeah, anger is rising after the discovery of 6 murdered hostages in Gaza, including an American citizen. John Lawrence reports.
Mass demonstrations throughout Israel, including Tel Aviv, where police use stun grenades to clear crowds and say they arrested more than 24 people Sunday.
I'm all the time at the verge of crying. It's a terrible grief.
The protests are in response to the Israel Defense Forces discovery Saturday of the bodies of 6 hostages in a tunnel in Gaza. Many Israelis are blaming the deaths on their country's leaders for not coming to terms on a ceasefire with Hamas.
They should take responsibility and do the most necessary thing is like release the captives, the captives that you can before it is too late.
While Hamas issued a statement Sunday saying Israel, quote, bears responsibility for the 6 deaths, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu claims Hamas is refusing all ceasefire proposals.
The government of Israel is committed, and I am personally committed, to continue striving towards a deal that will return all of our hostages and ensure our security and our existence.
U.S. officials say despite the hostage deaths, ceasefire talks continue, and the White House is hoping to see results soon.
We should end this war. I think we're on the verge of having an agreement. It's just time to end it.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
President Biden and Vice President Harris are meeting with the U.S. hostage deal negotiating team in the Situation Room today.
Also this morning, in Jerusalem, loved ones said goodbye to Hersh Goldberg Poland at his funeral. Israeli President Yitzhak Herzog asked Goldberg Poland's family for forgiveness for, quote, failing to bring him home alive. Dozens of people prayed together at a vigil last night in Jerusalem. They came together to sing the Israeli national anthem as they remembered Poland. Some talked about the last time they saw him before he left for that Nova Music Festival where he was kidnapped.
Hirsch grew up here. The last night that we celebrated with him was the holiday of Simchat Torah, the evening before he went to the Nova Festival, and he was dancing on this floor right here the night before he left. And that's the last that all of the congregation saw him.
During an address yesterday, Prime Minister Netanyahu said Israel will hold Hamas responsible for the deaths of the hostages. He also blamed them for the stalled negotiations.
And we're following some breaking news right now. Police say 4 people are dead in a shooting on a subway train outside Chicago. WRAL's Chris Lovingood is in the live center with more on this. Chris, what do we know?
So far, Michelle, we're seeing that there was a 911 call made this morning and that there were several people shot at what's referred to as Forest Park's CTA Blue Line station. Right now, this is a live look at Chicago. Can't quite see specifically where we're talking about here, but this is sort of to illustrate the region where we're talking about. 3 people were actually found dead at the station and a 4th person died in the hospital. Investigators say that they were able to use surveillance video to find a suspect, but that is a person they say managed to escape. Any other updates in terms of what led to this shooting? We'll report here on the WRAL Live Center.
All right, thanks, Chris. And AAA released the average gas prices for Labor Day this morning. And this morning, the average price nationwide, $3.33. In North Carolina, it's cheaper than that. It's $3.11. In Raleigh, it's $3.18. And all of those prices are down more than 35 cents from last year.
At least 6 people were stung by jellyfish on Oak Island this holiday weekend. Saturday, Oak Island fire officials posted this, saying there were purple warning flags for all beaches. They say 6 people were treated with stings consistent of jellyfish, not man-o-war. Today, flags are yellow on the island for moderate surf conditions.
This afternoon, San Francisco 49ers rookie Ricky Pearsall is recovering at home after he was shot during an attempted robbery over the weekend. Marissa Parra shows us the dramatic video of Pearsall walking calmly in the moments after he was shot.
Shocking video shows 49ers rookie Ricky Pearsall clutching his chest and walking to a stretcher after he was shot in broad daylight. San Francisco police say the 23-year-old was the victim of an attempted armed robbery Saturday, just hours after signing autographs at a publicity event. In a Facebook post, Pearsall's mom wrote, "He was shot in the chest and it exited out his back. It missed his vital organs. My son was spared today by the grace of God." The chaos started around 3:30 in bustling Union Square. The 49ers rookie was walking alone when a 17-year-old pulled a gun and tried to rob him. The two struggled, and both Pearsall and the suspect were shot.
More than one shot was fired, but again, we need to confirm exactly how.
In the aftermath, Pearsall was seen on KTVU video walking slowly to the ambulance with the help of first responders holding on to him. The 17-year-old suspect is now in police custody. Meanwhile, Pearsall has since been released from the hospital.
We are 49ers!
The rookie was on the brink of his NFL debut as the 49ers' first-round pick in the spring. He was recovering from hamstring and shoulder injuries during the preseason and said last month he was eager to play.
I'm up for the job. I'm excited to get started.
San Francisco's mayor speaking for fans everywhere.
He has a bright future, and I look forward to seeing him recover and get back on the field.
It's unclear when he'll make his return to running the field. Right now, the focus is on his recovery.
He is so lucky he's okay. That was Marissa Parra reporting. And a Nash County deputy who helped rescue a missing and endangered child received a national award. Master Deputy Patrick Houghton was recognized at the National Interdiction Conference held in California. Last year, Houghton made a traffic stop on I-95 that saved a missing child from Coral Springs, Florida.
Folks will have to pay once again when you take the Go Raleigh bus. The service has started collecting fares to ride again. All Go Raleigh single ride fares are $1.25 per person. People 18 and under and seniors 65 and over still ride for free. Fares had been suspended since March 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic.
A traffic alert to tell you about detours are in place on West Lane Street in Raleigh for water repairs and a sewer system repair. West Lane Street is closed between North Salisbury Street and North McDowell Streets. Lane closures are in those areas and the roads are expected to be closed through tomorrow.
Coming up, the race is intensifying to vaccinate young children in Gaza against polio. The UN is hoping to reach hundreds of thousands of those kids. We'll tell you what else they're asking for.
And a new blood test could predict your heart disease risk decades in advance. We'll tell you how it works.
Chris, I'm here with some breaking news into the newsroom. One of our assignment editors actually showed us this. There was a tree down. I'm going to show you exactly where this is. So here's the Beltline in Raleigh. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, and we're talking about Varnell Avenue and Corbin Street. I'm going to pull up here. This is the space that we're talking about. Trying to get more specifics in terms of what led to this, but likely was the weather from last night. We can pull up some video that we have here where you can see the tree clearly down, and there are some wires that were brought down as well. And the map that I've been showing you is a Duke outage map. It doesn't appear to show any outages there, but if I could pull your attention back out here one more time, I can show you where we are seeing an outage of at least 1,000 people. That's south of this area, right about here. That's near the Glenwood South area. So we'll keep watching to see if there's any improvement with that, but certainly it seems to be an after effect of the storms that we saw last night.
Thanks, Chris. The World Health Organization fears that polio may be spreading in Gaza after tests on wastewater samples turned up positive for the virus. Families lined up at a UN clinic in central Gaza on Sunday for immunizations after Israel and Hamas agreed to a brief pause in fighting. Immunization has declined since the war started. The UN hopes to vaccinate more than 600,000 children during a 3-day effort. It hopes the pause can be extended for a 4th day. Children should get the vaccine doses twice, 4 weeks apart, but the ongoing war is making that a challenge.
Living in a neighborhood with trees, a lot of them may reduce your risk of heart disease. Researchers collected health data from around 750 people in one area. They planted more than 8,000 trees in about 3 years' time. Researchers found the participants had 13% lower levels of a blood marker associated with heart disease, heart attack, and stroke. The drop was similar to beginning a regular exercise routine. A new blood test may be able to predict heart disease 30 years in advance. Research suggests if you take 3 tests, they can predict heart events in the future. It would include the LDL cholesterol, testing to determine whether a person may be vulnerable to heart issues. It also calls for testing for CRP, a protein produced by the liver that increases in response to inflammation, and lipoprotein, a kind of fat in the body.
Coming up, when people with drug addiction seek help, they have to leave behind some of the people and pets that they love the most. We're taking a look at a new program that connects pets to temporary foster homes so their owners can get the support they need.
And last night's storms are having a ripple effect into today. The show happening tonight because of a weather cancellation.
For people struggling with addiction, seeking help can be a long journey with many roadblocks. And many pet owners don't want to go to rehab because it would mean giving up their animal while they're away. Sue Guzman takes a look at a program offering hope.
For people struggling with drug addiction and alcoholism, deciding to enter a treatment program can be a major step towards their recovery.
My first time in rehab, I was 17 years old. My most recent bout was with crack cocaine. And it took everything from me.
Simon Rubik has been sober for more than 2 years now, but his choice to enter rehab was complicated by fears over not wanting to lose his German Shepherd named Tonks. It's because most residential rehab centers in the U.S. do not allow patients to bring their pets with them to the facilities.
Caring for another creature and having something else care for you the way that animals do is, it's just unconditional and sometimes that's one of the things that people in recovery really need to be able to feel.
Thankfully, Rubik was connected with the Positive Recovery Group, a Denver-based program that fosters animals for people undergoing rehab treatments or going through domestic violence and mental health crisis.
Many of these folks have had the unconditional love and support of just their animal, especially when they're in active addiction. So when you're looking at going into treatment and what the options are for you, you're not going to compound trauma that you've already had by giving up the one thing that hasn't given up on you, and that's people's animals.
Positive Recovery now looking to expand its services nationally.
You're so worried about, the one companion that might be sticking with you through this. You can find a temporary loving home, and that way you can get the help you need.
Sue Guzman reporting. A wildfire burning in Jackson, Wyoming is growing today. Officials say the Fish Creek fire was discovered August 16th. The fire was caused by lightning and is more than 9,000 acres in size now. Roads in that area are being affected by the heavy smoke and limited visibility.
We are looking forward to a calmer weather day today after the severe weather that came last night left behind flash flooding. Cars got stuck in high water on roads around Raleigh, and the severe weather also forced the cancellation of some events, including a Stone Temple Pilots show at Red Hat Amphitheater that's been rescheduled for tonight. It also led to crashes on highways around the area as well. And meteorologist Chris Michaels now is going to give us our weather forecast. Carolina Beach, we were just talking about this. Not exactly the picture perfect beach day.
No, not exactly, right? As we're seeing some of those showers and storms moving into the area, including Carolina Beach. And there's Wilmington, right? You can see the rain coming down, some of those ominous clouds on the horizon. So this is all with the front that produced some of those showers and storms for areas inland last night. Give you a live look at Wilson, where things are starting to get a little breezy, just a light rain shower passing over Wilson County right now. No lightning, no thunder, but it is a steady rain that's moving into areas like Stantonsburg and then eventually toward Pine Tops. I'll back out the view for you, and you can see that most of these showers are going to continue moving south and east of the triangle here as we go through the rest of the afternoon. Anything that we see really throughout the afternoon is going to be much more isolated than what we saw last night. Good news if you plan on maybe doing some grilling, you're taking advantage of what's left of Labor Day weekend. 81 at 1 p.m., 83 at 4 p.m. By 7 p.m., we're at 79, and those storm chances continue to dwindle. Overnight, we're feeling pretty comfortable. Durham and Raleigh 62. At the bus stop in Fayetteville and Goldsboro, we're at 66 degrees, and humidity levels dropping off pretty nicely. That's going to be the key factor here as we go through the next couple of days. The dew point is your measure of moisture, basically your muggy measure for sure, right? You see that in the 50s tomorrow. That's going to provide us with a nice, comfortable day and more sunshine out there. So as we look ahead at the 24-hour forecast for Tuesday, you're looking at highs in Roxborough and South Hill 77, Fayetteville, Clinton 81, Raleigh and Durham in the upper 70s. But then Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, these are your bus stop temperatures that you see on the right-hand side of your screen. Most of those in the 50s, an early fall feel. But it's brief this time around. We're eventually going to see the resurgence of some humidity and a front coming in that gives us a good shot of rain and storms late Thursday into Friday. And then depending on where exactly that front is going to be, that'll determine our storm chances for Saturday. So keep checking back with us here in the WRAL Severe Weather Center for updates on that. Beyond that front, it does look likely that we see another string of below average temperatures. Now, that's most likely in the Tennessee River Valley, the Ohio River Valley, the Great Lakes, but some of these lighter blue shadings indicating that, we got a good bet at below average temperatures from September 7th through September the 11th. So over the past few days, a whole lot of heat. Over the past few weeks, we've seen 65 days of 90-degree heat. There's not a single one, though, in the 7 days. So it's been quite some time. It's been, let me think about, do the math in my head, 3 months. It's been more than 3 months since we could say that. So definitely a deserved break from the heat. All right, today we're in the 80s, 62 tomorrow morning. 79 tomorrow afternoon to 59, then first thing Wednesday morning. Wednesday and Thursday, we're still in the 70s, but you see those storm chances creeping up as we get closer to the weekend. More frequent cold fronts coming in, so you can taste the pumpkin spice. It's almost there, guys. Just a few days here with a fall-like feel.
The scientists are quick with math in their head, too. Very quick. Like it. Thanks, Chris. For the first time ever, some people will be able to enjoy their favorite movie in theaters in their own language.
Yeah, the push from Marcus Theaters to bring people together by showing Star Wars in the native language Ojibwe. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. Today is the culmination of an event that came to be during a pro-Palestinian protest on UNC's campus in the spring. You may recall this moment when a group of UNC fraternity students held the American flag after protesters had taken it down. A GoFundMe page launched in the hours after raised more than $500,000. Some of the money is being used for a private party today that the organizer called Flagstock and described as an epic rager. The rest of the money is going to charity.
Raleigh-Durham International Airport's a busy place today as folks are returning home from their Labor Day weekend getaways. Airport officials say they expected to have about 200,000 people travel through RDU between Friday and today. Nationally, the TSA said it expected to screen 17 million people, which would make this the busiest Labor Day weekend ever.
And areas in Wake, Johnston, and Cumberland counties are still dealing with flooding issues today. This is video of Ramsey Street near Wall Street in Fayetteville. Areas along the greenways in Wake and Johnston counties are also flooded in some spots, making the trails impassable.
For the first time, some Star Wars fans get the chance to see the original movies in their native language, Ojibwe. Marcus Theaters hopes to bring people together by celebrating Indigenous people. The film is available to watch in select theaters in Wisconsin, Minnesota, and North Dakota. Ojibwe moviegoers say it was exciting to see representation on the big screen.
We all know pumpkin-flavored treats drive the market this time of year, but economists weigh in on why that's the case. First, these treats are only available for a few months, and exclusivity drives demand. And experts say the pumpkin spice flavor can even tap into consumers' emotions by signaling the enjoyable aspects of fall to come. Plus, the seasonal flavor is a way for businesses to try and boost sales and attract new customers.
Selena Gomez had a big surprise for some of her young fans. She was in Colorado for a film festival this weekend and spotted a handwritten sign from a high school volleyball team asking her to come to the game. She showed up Saturday, much to the delight of the players.
Amazing. And today we have 5 pets of the day coming from Love Mutts. Meet Ellie, Hershey, Leslie, Milo, and Beckham. These 5 loyal, loving dogs are all a bit over 50 pounds. They love people and they can share a space with another canine friend. And Love Mutts does a 2-week foster to adopt program. You can learn more about these dogs and the program at lovemuttsrescue.com.
The Animal Protection Society of Durham is a shelter participating in Clear the Shelters, continuing their decades-long mission to support animals in need. Since 1970, this nonprofit has cared for nearly 4,000 animals each year. During Clear the Shelters, visit their facility to meet adoptable pets and support their vital work. For more information on adoption, you can visit their website on the screen.
A local school district is adding mobile units after a middle school was damaged during a tornado last month. How the Wilson County school system is covering the $660,000 cost and when they expect the 14 new classrooms to be ready.
Pretty incredible effort just to get that back to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great, safe Labor Day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.